Boko Haram hits Borno IDPs again, set many houses ablaze. Commuters plying Bauchi-Gombe Highway expressed concern over deplorable condition of road ahead of rainy season. Kano residents lament hike in price of food items, other essential commodities ahead of Ramadan fast. On the foreign scene, Haiti gang leader threatens civil war if Prime Minister does not resign. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Hour. I'm Aisha Salihu. We begin with security update where suspected Boko Haram insurgents have razed down at least 25 newly constructed buildings meant for returnees in Dikwa local government area of Borno State. At the heat of the insurgency that ravaged parts of Borno State, Dikwa residents fled their homes and took cover as internally displaced persons. However, days after abducting IDPs who went into the forest to fetch firewood, insurgents stormed a remote village in Gajibo, shooting sporadically and burning more than 25 newly built houses. According to an eyewitness who was on his way to Maiduguri from Gomboru, they were asked by the troops to wait for about 3 hours at Logomani village. A resident of Dikwa town, Sharif Lawan, confirmed the development to our correspondent via telephone. He added that they equally planted several improvised explosive devices in the ongoing construction sites to truncate the rebuilding and resettlement process of the state government. And earlier, we spoke to Daily Trust Northeast Bureau Chief Hamisu Matazu, who gave us an update on the latest attack.
Actually, the attack happened day before yesterday. And about 25 houses were razed down by the insurgents. And as it is now, I learned that the Executive Secretary of SEMA, that is the State Emergency Management Agency, has organized his team and they moved to the area for on-the-spot assessment. The area is there is no service. Maybe to reach him, I had wanted to get an update about what they saw and the quantum of damage, but he is yet to come back. Meanwhile, it is a known fact that the state is at the stage of recovery stage. So they have been building houses all across the state, preparing to return the IDPs back to their ancestral homes. Because recently the governor made a pronouncement that what they have been spending on the IDPs, it cannot be longer sustainable. As such, he tried to build more houses and open up farmlands to ensure that the IDPs return to their ancestral home, and they have maybe occupation doing there, which predominantly are farmers, and they are opening up farmlands to ensure that they return home. So based on what we are getting from people, they were saying that the insurgents were not too comfortable with the arrangement, and that's why they are making such pocket of attacks recently.
Okay.
So we are on the situation to see maybe how things will unfold in the and report accordingly.
Okay, thank you so much, Hamisu. I understand you're saying that SEMA in the state is already organizing for assessment of the situation, and also the state government prior to this particular attack is rebuilding houses for the internally displaced persons to return to their ancestral homes. But then I'd like to know, is this a one-off attack, or is there a sense that this is a recurring issue?
Well, attack in Borno State has been happening, though it has subsided, but of recent, we can see the resurgence of some attacks in some places. Notwithstanding, most of the attacks happening now are landmines attacks, which the insurgents usually planted bombs, EIDs, in some places where, especially on the roads, that is the interstate, interlocal government roads, where there is traffic, and usually the cars usually got on the bombs, and it went off with them. And we have seen so many such attacks recently. But notwithstanding, I believe the insurgents are not doing as much, because if you look at the way some of the local governments, before even this Gajibo, where the attack happened, people cannot dare go there. But the government was able to go there and build the houses, and now trying to relocate the people. But these things are happening, which I feel maybe it will be unsafe for the people to return for now. But it depends on the assessment of the government and the assessment of the SEMA that went. So that's why we want them to come back, so that we can engage them to know how the preparation will go on. Are they going to return them soon, or maybe what they will do on the issue?
Quite a sad one there, that we have landmine attacks and also IED explosives being planted by these insurgents. Now, you did talk about the state government's plan on working on relocating IDPs back to their communities, but I'd like to know, just very briefly and lastly, what kind of impact would this development now have on relocation plans?
Obviously, it has affected the plan, because the government had wanted, and the governor has been announcing. He announced that in different events that soon he will relocate the people there. And I think that has sent a lot of fear into the mind of the people that will be relocated there, I believe. And I don't know, maybe the security are in the best side to talk about the security, whether it is safe.
Okay.
It is still safe for the people to return.
Okay.
So maybe in our next this thing, we will reach out to the security to know their take on the issue.
There you have it. Daily Trust Northeast Bureau Chief Hamisu Matazu. Now, the Katsina State Police Command on Tuesday foiled a kidnapping attempt, rescued victims, and recovered one operational motorcycle from suspected bandits in the state. In a statement on Wednesday, the spokesman of the State Police Command, ASP Abubakar Sadiq, said the incident occurred at about 6:30 p.m. after a report was received at the Kankara Police Divisional Headquarters that some suspected armed bandits attacked motorists along Bolra Village Road in Kankara local government area. He said upon receipt of the report, a team of operatives stormed the scene, engaged the suspected bandits in a fierce gun duel, and forced them to flee. Sadiq quoted the State Commissioner of Police, CP Aliyu Abubakar Musa, as commending the officers' outstanding displays of bravery, dedication, and professionalism. Musa said efforts are on top gear to arrest fleeing suspects, advising members of the public to promptly report anybody seen with a bullet wound, as some of the suspects escaped the scene with gunshot injuries. And now, away from that, the Nigerian Senate has condemned in strong terms the recent attacks on Benue communities by terrorists. The upper chamber also called on the federal government and other authorities to put appropriate measures in place to forestall a recurrence of such an incident. The report.
These and more were part of the resolutions of the lawmakers when the issue came up during Wednesday's plenary at the upper chamber of the National Assembly. The Senate says it is worried about the worsening spate of insecurity in the country after Senator Emmanuel Odende raised a point of order on the killing of over 50 people in Logo, Goma, and Katsina Ala areas of Benue State.
The Senate aware with deepest sadness that no fewer than 50% have been killed in fresh attacks on several communities in Kwandre, Ukum, Logo, and Katsina Ala local government areas of Benue State by terrorists parading as headsmen.
Contributing to the debate, the immediate past president of the Senate, Ahmad Lawan, declared that the security architecture in the country has collapsed, leaving Nigerians defenseless and frustrated. Lawan expressed concern that despite the huge budgetary allocations to defense, terrorists, bandits, and other criminal elements are still having the upper hand.
Our citizens, some of them will say they would like to defend themselves. But, Mr. President, what is the most important purpose of government? It means we will shy away from our responsibility. Because the most important purpose of any government is security, even welfare is second.
Deeply worried, senators said killings and violent crimes must be halted urgently.
These bandits hide out in forests in our various communities. Like in Agatu, like I said that time, they have forests and they have locations. So the mystery of it is that why have we not been able to pick them out of these forests?
Until we resolve to do what is required of us to do constitutionally, we shouldn't be coming here to be raising motion upon motion every day. This community is attacked, that community is attacked. What have we done as a Senate, as members of the National Assembly, as the third arm of government?
President, this issue of security, we can't continue to be coming here every day or at least every week to stand up, because this is the last thing you say now. Let's observe 1 minute silence, and that's it.
After contributions from lawmakers, the Senate unanimously urged service chiefs, including the Inspector General of Police, to, as a matter of urgency, deploy their men to flush out the criminal elements terrorizing parts of Benue State.
It's a fact. The first line of thought is the government of Benue State. And as Senator, then they brought it forward. I have not heard any comment from the government of Benue State. If 50 people are killed, or more than 50, and communities are being attacked, we will expect that the governor will either cry out or marshal out plans with the immediate security operatives within the Benue State to see what he can do before we start bringing the issue to the president.
The upper chamber also urged the executive to invest in surveillance technology to effectively curb the activities of terrorists.
Also, the Benue State government has ordered security agencies in the state to commence the full implementation of the state's open grazing prohibition on ranches establishment law 2017. The order is coming after the State Security Council a few weeks ago gave herders a 14-day ultimatum to return their cattle to wherever they came from if they were not willing to practice ranching. Addressing newsmen during a press briefing at the Government House in Makurdi on Wednesday, the Deputy Governor, Sam Ode, said, since the 14 days ultimatum has elapsed, the open grazing prohibition and ranches establishment law 2017 is still fully in place in the state. It has become necessary for the law to fully take its course with the full implementation of the law through the help of the security agencies. He charged the security agencies to swing into action and ensure the state is safe for all. Meanwhile, residents of Makurdi in Benue have condemned the lingering crisis in the state chapter of the ruling All Progressives Congress, describing it as a distraction against development in the state. The APC crisis has lingered for a while with the parade of two factional chairmen, one loyal to the governor of the state and the other loyal to the secretary to the government of the federation. Jimmy Azande, who has been monitoring the situation, now reports.
With Benue State currently battling issues of insecurity occasioned by militia activities and herders' invasion, residents are worried that such divisions among the ruling party could plunge the state into further crisis.
Their interest is at par. It's not the same. So everybody is like walking towards his interest. But believe you me, at the end of this this tenure, by 2027, where elections are coming, you will be seeing regrouping of this political class. The same thing, forgiveness and whatever will be preached and reconciliation. And you will see them again after the elections. They will make the masses who are voters again to suffer after a long time until another 30-31 elections again. So I think what the politicians should do now is that they need to give us what the masses are looking for, which is good governance.
Others want political stakeholders to support the state governor to deliver on his campaign promises that are geared towards addressing the many challenges confronting the state.
The governor has done a remarkable restructuring and paying of pensioners in the state since the period of Apollo. So I think they should be patient with His Excellency Dr. Isaac. He's doing a very wonderful job. Then, as they do call themselves aiders, it's good that they should aid, assist you with their own ideas or aiders, not to come and distract you.
The crisis that is rocking APC, the ruling party in Benue State, is not a good one at all. They should be able to come together, sheath their swords, and move Benue forward. His Excellency, Reverend Father Hyacinth Alia is doing well. He's doing marvelously well. We have not had the governor of his time, of recent time.
Crisis has continued to rock the ruling APC in the state, with the party currently functioning with two factions. Observers say, although history has shown that this kind of politicking is common in Benue State, they opine that it should be curtailed for the greater good of Benue State. Jimmy Azandi, Trust TV News, Makurdi.
More on politics. The Court of Appeal in Abuja has affirmed Julius Abure as the authentic national chairman of the Labour's Party and awarded a cost of 1 million naira against Lamidi Apapa. In a judgment delivered by Justice Hamma Barka, the court set aside the decision of the Federal Capital Territory High Court, which restrained Abure and two others from parading themselves as national officers of the party. The suit, which was filed at the lower court by Apapa's led faction, accused Abure and others of forging several documents of the FCT High Court to carry out unlawful substitutions in the 2023 general elections. The suit, which was filed by Martins Esekbali John and 7 others, accused Abure and others of forging several documents of the FCT High Court to carry out unlawful substitutions in the last elections. Delivering the lead judgment on Wednesday, Justice Haman Barka held that the High Court was wrong to have assumed jurisdiction on the matter. He also awarded 1 million naira in favor of the appellants.
The action at the trial court was instituted by some individuals, I don't know where they came from, challenging the propriety of the continued occupation of the Labour Party chairmanship office by Mr. Julius Abure. And by the judgment of the Court of Appeal, the Court of Appeal has found that that action, as contrived, was incompetent. It was null and void.
Julius Abure has always been the national chairman. The court, no court ever has said that he has ceased from being the national chairman. And today, again, the court has reaffirmed through the appeal court that he is the substantive national chairman. I think the case ends today, and there won't be any need for anybody to go further.
With rainy season just around the corner, commuters plying the Bauchi-Gombe Highway have expressed concern over the deplorable condition of the road and urged the federal government to arrest the situation before it gets out of hand. Some of the commuters who spoke to Trust TV while on transit said they don't find it easy every time they ply the road. Adamu Imam completes the report.
Drivers who usually ply the Bauchi to Gombe Highway lamented what they describe as a not too encouraging level of commitment by government on the need to repair dilapidated portions of the road, as commuters still struggle to ply the road, especially around the Kalajanga community area.
Kalajanga culvert that was washed away every year, every rainy season. This portion must be washed away by flood. And nothing has been done. It's a federal road, it's a highway that links all the states in the northeast. From here, you go to Bauchi. From Bauchi, you go to Gombe, you go to Adamawa, you go to Taraba, you go to Borno, and you go to Yobe. But this is the condition of the road. It's a dead trap. Last year, it was more devastating last year. The two governors, Bauchi and Gombe, came here and they promised they were going to talk to the federal government, though we heard that the contract has been awarded, but nothing has been done. This is March.
Adeyemi added that members of the National Assembly from the zone also need to draw the attention of relevant agencies of government to the lingering issues of roads in northern part of the country, particularly the northeastern roads. They are facing a lot of difficulties plying this road. Car breakdowns can cause one to spend several hours. So we are appealing to the government to do the needful by fixing this road to help ameliorate our plight as drivers. On behalf of Drivers Union from Alkaleri to Gombe, we are appealing to the authorities to address the deplorable conditions of the road. I usually go to where there are potholes and use sand to fill them up to ease the stress on drivers. From there, I get some cash to keep body and soul together. But that notwithstanding, we are begging for government's intervention on this road. They also argue that addressing road problems in those axes will reduce delays for passengers and encourage transporting of farm produce, as well as growth and development of the zone as a whole. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
And now to the Green Chambers of the National Assembly. The House of Representatives has summoned the Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Adegboyega Oyetola, and Managing Director of Nigerian Ports Authority to appear before it over controversies trailing the concession of Apapa Terminal, Warri Port Terminal, Tinkan Island Port Terminal. Chairman, House Committee on Privatization and Commercialization, Ibrahim Chidari, gave the directive during the investigative hearing into the expired concession agreements signed with 6 unlicensed terminal operators.
Also directed to appear before the committee are the Director General, Bureau of Public Enterprises and Director General, Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission.
Some port terminals, seaport terminals were given out on concession, viably, but some of them are from Lagos and some of them are from Port Harcourt. So they were trying to see that their approval were renewed since 2021. So we don't know, somehow, this renewal were not granted to them, but they have been operating since then. So we fit it deemed to cross-check and see what is the problem.
The committee also queried the terminal operators on whether the fees paid were paid into the appropriate government's account or not. A representative of Browell Oil Service Limited, Ochia Patrick, accused Intel of illegal imposition of shifting fees, which led to the loss of multi-million naira businesses from international shipping agencies.
They call it shifting charge for that vessel that is already in Intel. Look at the boundary between Intel and Browell. Just to shift from there to come to net to draw to drop Browell cargoes that are meant for Browell, they will say they should pay shifting charge. And they will build in that charges to the consignees, that is the owners of the cargo. And that is discouraging them. So they say, instead of going to Browell, let us just drop it off at Intel, because that to them is additional cost.
The terminal operator representative, while expressing grave concern over the high cost of diesel to power generators daily, solicited for the intervention of the House on regular supply of gas to the terminal.
This is the News Hour on Trust TV, coming up after the break. Desperate times call for desperate measures as Lagosians take cheaper and dangerous measures for shelter due to economic hardship. More news when we return. Do stay with us. Welcome back and thank you so much for joining us on the News Hour on Trust TV. Now let's take a look at a recap of some of our top stories. Boko Haram hits Borno IDPs again, sets many houses ablaze. Commuters plying Bauchi-Gombe Highway expressed concern over a deplorable condition of road ahead of rainy season. And now moving on to more stories. The Kano State Ministry of Health has denied the outbreak of measles in Kano Municipal Local Government area. In a statement issued by the Public Relations Unit of the Ministry, the Director, Public Health and Disease Control, Imam Wada Bello, was quoted to have debunked the story. Authorities at the Kano Municipal Local Government Council of Kano State had confirmed an outbreak of measles in some parts of the local government area. The primary healthcare coordinator of the area, Aliyu Jinjiri Kiru, disclosed this during a meeting of the Emergency Preparedness Response Committee at the local government secretariat. But denying the report on Wednesday, Imam pointed out that before a disease could be declared an outbreak, there were certain procedures and indexes to be considered, including laboratory investigations and examinations, as well as assessing its gravity and number of people affected. The director said that the ministry was vigilant on all public diseases by taking all necessary measures to contain the effect of such diseases. He further assured that the ministry and its 44 local government areas emergency preparedness response were on the alert to timely respond to outbreaks in collaboration with the relevant stakeholders. More on health. Experts in sickle cell disease management are advocating increased awareness, accessibility and usage of hydroxyurea therapy, a disease-modifying agent with the capacity to improve the health outcomes of people living with the sickle cell disease. The advocacy came as Nigeria records the highest prevalence of sickle cell disease, with an estimation of 4.4 million of its population affected. Cases of sickle cell disease in Nigeria are estimated to affect around 2 to 3% of the Nigerian population, while an estimated 150,000 infants are born with SCD each year in the country. Research findings over the years show that the vast majority of people with SCD in sub-Saharan Africa are not receiving evidence-based healthcare such as newborn screening, health education, prophylaxis for infection, transcranial Doppler screening, hydroxyurea therapy, and blood transfusion when required to stem the tide of suffering and better manage patients.
Only 13% of individuals with sickle cell disease are taking the hydroxyurea. This is something that will reduce the frequency of pain crises, help your hemoglobin, help reduce the infection rate, and can really help people to live healthier lives.
It helps to reduce the complications, the rate of complications, the rate of admissions, the rate of blood transfusions, and it helps to reduce the risk of them having strokes.
Although some sickle cell warriors say they are aware of this management intervention and its effectiveness, they, however, worry about its availability, accessibility, and affordability.
The frequency of you getting sick is lesser, it's minimal, it's not much like when you are not taking it.
But the only problem we have now, or I have now, is the drug not being available. It's not available all the time. For the cost of the drugs, it's too high, and most of us are not able to afford it.
Experts say effective capacity building for healthcare providers on usage and administration of the drug, awareness creation for patients, and its incorporation into the health insurance scheme will bolster increased adoption in Nigeria.
We saw that the first barrier to scaling up was making sure that physicians could provide this, and making sure that physicians were well trained to provide this and felt comfortable providing hydroxyurea. We feel that by addressing healthcare providers, which are the gateway, it will start to scale up the adoption of it, and then it'll make it more accessible.
We are doing everything possible to create more awareness for our own brand of Oxuria, which is a brand of hydroxyurea among doctors, pharmacists, nurses, and other healthcare providers. And through that too, a lot of people or a lot of patients also have access to the products, because the Oxuria itself is a precision product. It has to be prescribed by a doctor, and then the patient has to go for it based on prescription from his prescriber.
Sickle cell disease, a genetic blood disorder that affects millions of people worldwide, especially in Nigeria, can be drastically reduced when genotype testing prior to pregnancies are carried out to ensure compatibility. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja. Now, away from health matters, the International Monetary Fund has said addressing food insecurity should be the immediate priority for the Nigerian government. The IMF also said the decision by the Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank of Nigeria to further tighten monetary policy will help contain inflation and pressures on the naira. The IMF stated this in a report after its team, led by Axel Shimal-Penning, IMF Mission Chief for Nigeria, visited Lagos and Abuja from February 12 to 23, 2024 to hold discussions for the 2024 Article 4 consultations with Nigeria. Nigeria is battling rising inflation, food inflation, forex crisis, economic hardship and high cost of living occasioned by the removal of petrol subsidy, attracting protests in parts of the country. The Nigerian naira has seen a dip in the last 9 months since the President Bola Tinubu administration collapsed the foreign exchange window. The naira experienced an all-time low, falling from about 700 naira per dollar last May to over 1,500 naira per dollar at the moment. The House of Representatives has advocated for the payment of a living wage to Nigerian workers that would be commensurate with current economic realities around the world. In its resolution following a motion sponsored by the minority leader of the House, Kingsley Chima, and 37 other members, the House resolved to transmit its resolution to the Senate for concurrence. The federal government recently set up a tripartite committee made up of persons drawn from the executive, organized labor, state government, and the organized private sector to negotiate the minimum wage. Moving the motion on behalf of the sponsors, Deputy Minority Leader of the House, Aliyu Sani Madaki, said the rising rate of inflation in the country has made it difficult for average Nigerians to afford basic needs such as food, water, housing, education, healthcare, transportation, and clothing. He explained that the rising inflationary rate has also hurt the cost of living, with the cost of food, accommodation, education, and transportation skyrocketing.
The federal government offered palliatives to cushion its effect. However, the ameliorative effect of these measures has been overtaken by the continued rise in the cost of goods and services. Further aware that the minimum wage in Nigeria was increased by the president recently, but the purchasing power is low owing to the continued rise in the cost of living in the country and the fall of the naira. Again, aware that Trade Economics in 2018 reported the living wage of an individual Nigerian as a Nigerian family to be 43,000 naira 200 per month and 137,600 naira per month, respectively. This is a pre-subsidy removal report. Further note that presently, no laborer can live in Nigeria with a wage of less than 100,000 naira. Concern that according to the World Bank report, low purchasing power in the country occasioned by a high inflationary rate has led to an increase in poverty across the country.
Of the Ramadan fast, prices of food items and other essential commodities in Kano have continued to increase. Trust TV correspondent Idris Jibrin reports that traders are asking the state and federal government to subsidize food prices to enable ordinary citizens fully participate in the fast.
This is Yankaba Market in Kano, where hundreds of people appeared to be doing what seems to be a Ramadan shopping. But residents say the prices of food items and other essential commodities have not changed.
Every day the things is adding, the prices are adding from one to another. So the thing is that when we came, the last time we bought this thing was a bit down, but now it's beyond.
I bought these beans. Yes. Was it 3 days ago? I bought it at Doano. I bought 8 8 measurements. So now we just came here to buy 6 measurements, and the price is 2,700. If you have high BP, please don't even come to the market because your BP will reach 2,000.
From fruits to vegetable and all other food items, traders say the price is rising on daily basis, largely due to cost of local transportation.
You see, beans, like before we are selling beans 1,500, 1,400, but now as of today, beans is 1,700, 2,700, 2,800. Well, the price of food items have continued to increase. You see, like now we are selling rice 2,000, 2,700. In fact, there is the one we are selling 3,000, depending on the brand. And we don't know. The situation is just the way it is.
Meanwhile, traders in Singa Market say they have reduced the price of all essential commodities with about 2,000 naira per 50 kg bag of food to enable people get what they will eat during the Ramadan fast.
The food item we are selling here now, we are selling it less than the price we are selling in the market, purposely to give our contribution to the entire Muslim community in Kano, so that they will have some concession on each and every item or food item they are buying from us here.
Kano state government has called on traders to reduce the price of food, but residents are worried that some traders are not ready to empathize with the ordinary people. Idris Jubrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
We move over now to the southwestern part of the country. With the ongoing increase in house rent in Lagos State, citizens who cannot afford modern houses have resorted to building wooden homes, popularly called Paco, in canal areas. At the Antonio Care area, residents have moved down to the valley under the canal to provide shelter for themselves and their families following their inability to afford rents in the main city. Victoria Tokolo sent in the report as presented from our studio.
According to reports, the high cost of living has forced landlords to raise their rental costs, making it difficult for many Lagos residents to afford proper accommodation. As a result, many citizens have turned to building makeshift homes made of wood and other materials in canal areas. However, this living situation comes with its own challenges. Many of the wooden homes lack proper sanitation facilities and clean drinking water, which could potentially lead to health issues for those who live in them. Despite the challenges they face, residents of wooden homes in Anthony OK area remain determined to make the best of their situation.
The house rent in Lagos is alarming. Imagine the me that is working and my wages is below, let's just say 80,000 naira. And I wanted to rent a one-room apartment, and the landlord is telling me 300, 500,000. So actually, most of us that are living in this community are just like opportune to have this type of a Paco house to maintain with. Why I'm saying it is because at least a Paco house, you can at least get a Paco house for 5,000 naira, 4,000 naira and below.
It's because that the rent house for this, especially for this Anthony, is too cost for us, so that if people see house, our Paco house for here to remain small, and people will not have money, plenty money to go and rent big house, so they will come to this Paco house, come to live for sometimes over the go, some go, some still there.
The reason I come to this place is that I don't have a better job, and I don't have enough money to rent block house. That is why I came here. The block house is 14,000 a month, and here is 5,000. That is why I'm here. It's because I don't have enough money to rent block house, and I don't have a particular job to do.
Although a difficult decision for many, it seems that living in wooden homes has become a viable option for those struggling to afford modern housing in Lagos.
The Jigawa state government has launched a comprehensive ICT skills training program for 1,000 youth in the state. The training, spanning 6 months, encompasses 5 crucial areas, namely cybersecurity, software engineering, artificial intelligence, machine learning and programming.
Under the auspices of the Agency of Youth Empowerment and Employment, this initiative aims to equip the youth with contemporary skills to meet demands of the ever-changing digital landscape. The training sessions will be conducted at state-of-the-art ICT centers strategically located across Jigawa State. Governor Umar Namadi, represented by his deputy Aminu Usman, who emphasized the alignment. Governor Umar Namadi, represented by his deputy Aminu Usman, highlighted and emphasized the alignment of this initiative with the state government's economic development plan, highlighting the pivotal role that technology plays in fostering economic growth and job creation.
Government is determined through a deliberate policies of supporting small and medium enterprises to develop by providing conducive climate for investment to foreign to create more job opportunity for our youths.
The training program has garnered substantial support from national and international partners such as the World Bank, which have joined hands with the National Information Technology Department Agency, NITDA, Bayes University, and Dominium to make the initiative a reality. This collaborative effort underlines the commitment of these organizations to promote digital literacy and empower the youth for a technology-driven future.
So many initiatives we are working on, and we strongly believe in partnership because best solutions emerge when different people work together.
This is an area which, ideally you cannot take people that are not having a level of qualification in academia. So it is an empowerment that targets people with diploma upwards.
In the past, we have done very well. We built the foundation for the digital governance and the digital economy. But along the way, something went wrong with rail. But now with the coming of this new force and collaboration, we are at the stage of rekindling our thinking towards building more inclusive, sustainable, resilient, and open ecosystem.
What is lacking in Nigerian economy is not jobs. What is lacking is skills. The young people, if they have the right skill sets, the expected empowerment will come and the economy will grow.
A project that we're putting on ground, that is an idea project, is actually supposed to provide basis for skilling, upskilling, and reskilling of youths, women, and the disabled persons. That's our target.
As the training progresses, the Jigawa State government says it remains dedicated to fostering an environment that nurtures innovation and empowers the younger generation to harness the transformative power of technology.
And for some business news, let's now join Chiamaka and Nendu.
This is the business news segment. My name is Chiamaka Nendu. We begin with news coming from the presidency as the President Bola Tinubu says Nigeria has attracted unprecedented opportunities to reset the course and build a new and sustainable economy away from the rent-seeking and waste that was once the order of the day. The president, who stated this at the 2023 Leadership Annual Conference and Award, said his 9-month-old administration had attracted $30 billion direct foreign investment commitment to shore up the Nigerian economy. And the president, who was represented by the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, said the Nigerian economy is not in distress but facing challenging times. And in other news, the Manufacturing Association of Nigeria has reported a disturbing trend within the industry, saying that about 767 manufacturing companies shut down operations, while 335 experienced distress in the year 2023. And this development, according to the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, is due to various economic difficulties, including exchange rate volatility, rising inflation, and a general worsening of the investment climate. The association's revelations came alongside its criticism of the federal government's newly introduced expatriate employment levy, which the association argues contradicts the objectives laid out in the President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda and the core principles of his fiscal policy and tax reform initiative. And moving on, the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, leading a Nigerian delegation, is in France on a 4-day Nigerian-France bilateral business forum, aiming to bolster cooperation and attract French private sector investment to improve Nigeria's aviation infrastructure. According to the statement by Keyamo's media advisor, Tunde Moshood, the minister and his team showcased the detailed aviation industry roadmap to Damien Case, who is the French Civil Aviation Director General, and other French aviation stakeholders in Paris, highlighting discussions on enhancing infrastructure and collaborations, including infrastructure financing, insurance, modernization of navigational equipment, and capacity building initiatives. And right about now, let us take a look at how the markets performed today, where the bulls dominated the market, with the all-share index up by 0.35% at 98,847.89. The market capitalization hit 56.3 trillion naira, with the volume of trade hitting 416.477 million. And the value of trade hit 19.5 billion naira, while 9,338 deals exchanged hands on the floor of the exchange. And now to the top gainers, with Transpower up by 9.99%. I just point out that Transpower has only been listed on the NGX for 2 days, emerging as a top gainer for 2 consecutive days. And Transcorp also up by 9.96%, while the First Bank Nigeria Holdings up as well by 9.95%. And on the flip side now, the losers chart, with Ikeja Hotels topping down by 10.00%, with Tantalizer following closely, down as well by 10.00%. And NASCON down by 9.97%. And right about now, let us take a look at the top trades and market movers, with Transcorp Nigeria emerging at 67.3 million shares, and FBN Holdings following at 47.7 million shares, while Guaranteed Trust Holding also on the chart with 37.5 million shares. And that is it for the market here in Nigeria. But let's take a look at how markets across the sub-Saharan African region and the global markets performed during today's trading sessions. And now to the currency market, where the naira fell slightly at the parallel market, also known as the black market, where the naira is exchanged unofficially. And this is despite increase, policy driven by the CBN. But let's take a look at how the markets performed against major currencies from across the world. And now to the commodities market, where crude oil prices rose on Wednesday, and this is coming before the U.S. Congress chair, that is the Fed Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell's testimony, which is expected today in the United States. And we have seen this affect the price of crude oil, with the price of crude oil, rising today. But that's it for the business news. My name is Chiamaka Enendu. Thank you for watching.
Thank you so much, Chiamaka Enendu. Now, away from Nigeria, the gang leader behind the violence blighting the Haitian capital has warned that there will be a civil war if Haiti's Prime Minister Ariel Henry does not step down. Jimmy Barbecue Charizia made the threat as members of his gang tried to seize the capital's airport to stop Henry from returning from abroad. Unrest has spread to other cities, with a prison riot reported in Jashmel. Thousands have been displaced by the violence. Barbecue, who leads the powerful G9 gang alliance, said on Tuesday that if Ariel Henry does not resign, they will be heading straight for a civil war that will lead to genocide. The G9 alliance has unleashed a wave of violence, including attacks on police stations, and the storming of the country's two main prisons, thousands of inmates escaped in a mass jailbreak on Saturday. Let's now join Emmanuel Fashemi for Sports News.
Captain of Nigeria men's arm wrestling team Samuel Isama has assured Nigerians that they are confident of podium finishes at the 13th African Games holding in Ghana from 8 to 24 March 2024. The 75 kg left and right arm wrestler Samuel Isama, in an interview, believed they are well prepared and are ready for the challenge ahead. He said the arm wrestling has experienced a huge turnaround since Samuel Jackson took affairs of the federation. Isama urged Nigerians to continue to have hope in the team. Ima Raducanu says she is not too concerned about tournament results, as the priority this year is to develop her game. The 21-year-old has won 3 matches in 4 tournaments she has played since returning from an 8-month absence from the tour through injury. She will play qualifier Rebecca Masarova in the first round at India Wells on Thursday. Raducanu played her best tennis of 2023 in India Wells, reaching the 4th round, having found out just before the tournament began that she was likely to need surgery on her both wrists. Raducanu also says she is likely to play in Great Britain Billie Jean King Cup qualifying tie in France in April if selected by captain Anne Kyoftavang. And that is sports. I am Emmanuel Fashemi.
You're up to speed with the emerging and re-emerging stories in Nigeria and beyond. And with that, we've come to the end of the news hour on Trust TV. But remember, you can always follow us across all of our social media platforms and also join our YouTube live stream for more news, programs, and documentary. I'm Aisha Salihu. Thank you so much for watching.